Hello and welcome to the Helmet Head podcast. Now this is actually the first ever episode that I've ever made. And what my plan is to do is to have this as a bit of a spin-off of the main Helmet Head YouTube channel. It has all the videos and all the action going on. And have this podcast very much is going to be a motorcycle and motorcycle vloggers podcast. And I'm lucky enough to have been doing this for a long enough time now to have built up many YouTuber friends that we can have some interviews with in the future. This is going to give you advice on how to film, how to edit, how to produce awesome content. I'm also extremely lucky to be able to get a lot of the press packs, and I don't use press packs so much in the main videos because I like to get my hands on the motorcycles themselves to make videos. But I get the press packs a lot of the time before they actually go out for general sale, what means that we can talk about new bikes that are coming up, we can put some pictures up, we can feature it. And this, of course, is a podcast, and you can see this on YouTube where you can see me actually talking to the camera and putting all this stuff up as well. But the whole point of the podcast is to make it very much about motorcycles and very much about vlogging. That's the idea. And hopefully we're going to create even bigger and better community as we go on as well, with more and more people wanting to get involved and come along and be on the Helmet Head podcast. Now, what I wanted to do is start today's first episode talking about motorcycle vlogging and how I vlog and the reason why I vlog the way I do. And hopefully people will get a lot of tips and sort of tricks. And if you're very much new, especially in 2023 and you're thinking about coming, this will inspire you to do it and also give you all of the information that you need to go, actually, I know what he's talking about and I can visualize this, and I'm going to start my own YouTube adventure, my own sort of goal of creating my own vlog. So what I want to start with is right from the beginning. And in 2023, the most important thing is when you create a YouTube channel with no back content, with nothing else, the biggest thing in the world is what people want to see is they want to see one episode. And what really helps things like the algorithm is they want to see a second and maybe even a third. So the first thing you've got to do is think about 3 episodes that you actually want to make. Have an idea of those first 3 episodes. And for an example, episode 1 could be about you as a person, what motorcycle you ride, what your history is, and what your future plans are. Your second episode could be very much about taking people to your absolute favourite hidden gem of a place to go and visit on your bike. And then episode 3 could be your first ever start of a mini adventure, for examples. Now, filming, a lot of people think when you're creating a YouTube video, the most important thing in the world is the actual camera, as in the quality of what you're picking up. And that isn't actually the case. The most important thing in the world when you're creating a YouTube video, a motovlog video, is the audio. And this is how I'm going to put it in, so hopefully you can understand what I'm trying to say. So imagine watching this, okay? Imagine watching a Triumph Scrambler, right? Outside a massive, beautiful set of woods with a trail that goes right through the middle of it. The sun's coming down, it's a gorgeous evening. And first of all, the camera is in complete silence and it's facing towards the bike. The wheel starts spinning, then the shot goes to a fox running away across the field. Then it comes back to the bike with it snaking going off. And then the big forest, and it goes through the middle of the woods. And then it captures it snaking between some trees as well. And then it comes out and does a massive skid. Just imagine that as a video with no audio whatsoever. Or even worse, imagine it with loads of wind noise, banging, the rustling going on, but destroying it because of all the wind of the bike going and the sound of the engine. Okay, imagine that. Or imagine the most amazing cinematic music playing while that happens. The dramaticness is of almost like as it kicks in. Imagine like a cinematic, the strings are kicking in, the wheel is spinning, it turns to the fox, the dramatic music starts picking up as it's going off, as it snakes through with awesome music, and you go, wow, that was such a cinematic shot. Because the music also creates so much emotion, and that's what you want to try to do with your music. But just imagine that as an example, then also imagine this as an example as well. Imagine switching on, and this is what I find as a person who, if I watch a new person's YouTube video, if I switch on and it's instantly a person who's riding along, these are their first words, would be like, well, hello all you YouTube people, We are on the B7247, and I rode this last week with my mate Dave, and we were riding along, and I had a lovely day. It was fantastic. I went down some bends and we went around the corner and it was all good. And imagine that being quite loud and poppy as well, because it's cheap microphones, etc. But for me, that one camera angle fixed to the front of that person's thing when they're filming away, I'd sit there and I'd go, I'm switching off. Probably within about 20 seconds, I would have gone, he's done nothing, this is boring. He's just come into this and he's just started jabbering along on a road and all that. For me, that's boring. What I like to watch, what makes me want to watch someone else's channel, is if straight away the intro's there, it's their face, it's that person, you're relating to that person. They're introducing what the video is, what's going to happen in the video. When it comes down to riding, for me, I like to see a change. Every 5 to 10 seconds, there's a change in cameras. So you've got a forward-facing shot off the helmet, it's the person's talking, and then it's facing them, and you're getting an idea of where they are, what they're riding, what they look like, what's going on. You're interacting with the audience. And then, of course, your B-roll footage and stuff. And this really straight away brings me onto cameras. Now, if I started in 2023, and the investment's quite a bit here. Now, I've got loads. When I film, I use loads of cameras. I use a DJI Pocket, and this is my vlogging camera. I use a DJI Osmo 3, as facing towards me camera. And then I use a GoPro 10 with a medium mod on my helmet, and that goes into my helmet with obviously the lav mic that's a purple panda because it's better for the audio quality. Plus I also use a GoPro 11 mini to capture B-roll footage to do with time warping, to catch behind when I want to say I'm traveling some distances. I've also used a drone. I've got loads set up, and I also run a 360 camera as well that I capture what I have my sort of riding moments with, what I put on a selfie stick. And because I'm a fully trained stunt rider, I obviously dangle the stick out and get loads of awesome angles. But if I was starting right now in 2023, I generally think, and it's a big investment, I reckon you're going to be looking at spending, I'd say probably nearly £1,000 on cameras and kit to actually start vlogging, what sounds absolutely massive. But if you're going to create a channel that's awesome, that you can do so much with 2 cameras, that's awesome, or you're going to create the opposite side of things, I'm creating video, my mates might watch, or my mum will watch, and I'm just going to buy a cheap 1 camera job and strap it to my helmet and do the guy riding down the road just talking. They're kind of the difference in the options. So for 2 cameras, this is an example of what you can do with 2 cameras. If you went and bought, for instance, 2 new GoPro 11s, you need 1 media mod, okay, and you need 1 Purple Panda microphone. You'll also need to buy, and I'd always recommend buying the actual proper, I've got to come to my head now, RAM mount. Actually, you get them off eBay and Amazon and all this stuff. I'd suggest getting one of those for your handlebars, the same as you see in my videos, because it's a fixed position, it locks on, it doesn't keep falling forwards and backwards as you're riding, like lots of the other cheap mounts do. And I reckon all in for that whole package, including buying extra batteries, because you will go through GoPro batteries, about £1,000. But for that £1,000 that you spend, this is what you're going to capture, okay? When you start your video, this is what I'd recommend doing, is you're using that camera that you put on the front of your bike, it has to become your vlogging camera as well, because you've got 2. So first of all, you're going to stand there and you're going to talk to that first camera. You're going to introduce who you are, what you're doing, what's going on. Now, every video needs to be a story. So you need to know what you're going to go and film and what you're aiming to do. You don't have to have a massive plan, but in your head, you need to have the story. So you're telling the story in the beginning. And then obviously you can swap to your bike itself, and you've got 2 cameras. So we're out on the road, we're riding now, and we're going to be heading to Hunstanton seaside to taste the best fish and chips in the entire world. And then you're going to have your GoPro 10 with your media mount with a Purple Panda lav mic. I've tried loads, but other people tell you to use all sorts of microphones, but trust me, that Purple Panda for me seems to be the best. It's plugged in, it's tucked in, you've got a wind muff on it as well, so it's just slightly out of the padding, tucked in the side of your helmet. Brilliant audio. So when you're riding, you can talk away and you're going to, this is where we're going, I'm riding my Triumph Tiger, 800, and I've had this bike for a couple of years, and it's really powerful, and we have some great fun. We're going to come up to some twisters and have some great fun with these twisters. And what you're doing every 5 seconds, when you put it in the actual edit, and we'll do an editing podcast at some point as well, we're going to slice the top camera we put on the 2 lines. You've got 1 line for your bottom camera, 1 line for your top. You're going to slot 5 seconds out of this all the way along this whole stream. So it's going to go, when you're watching, it's going to go forward facing. I'm talking to them. It's facing you, so it's capturing that. 5 seconds later, it's facing that. You're continuously talking. Now, the one thing about talking to camera is, and this is a really important thing, is only talk for a few minutes. So know what you want to talk about, chat for 2-3 minutes max, and then that's it. Because what you want to do then is swap to what I call a talking shot. So you'll take your GoPro back off of your round mount, or you'll take it off of the round mount. Comes like a ball. So it's a ball, a straight piece, what clamps on, and a ball at the top with the camera that sits in. So you can undo that and almost use that as a selfie stick if you wish. But you're going to pull over, whatever you're doing, and you're going to pull over and you're going to film talking to yourself on camera, because that becomes your forward-facing camera again, as in talking to your vlogger's camera. You're going to talk to that. And then the idea of it is then say you're going to get back on your bike, you're going to do some B-roll footage. So with that same camera again, you can change that onto time warp mode. This is where you can strap it, sort of like I said, on a back box or on a pannier. So you've got the side of the bike. And what that's going to do is going to capture speeding up footage. So then you're capturing all this speeding up footage as a bit of B-roll. Roughly run again, 5 to 10 seconds of that, and then bump, you're at Hunstanton. This is just an example of making a video. Your story then, of course, is I've arrived at Hunstanton, look at this amazing place. Just before we go and get the best fish and chips in the world, let me give you a quick tour. And again, you get to take your forward-facing camera. I call it forward-facing, it's actually facing you, so it's helmet-facing, if that makes sense. You're going to take that off, and then you're going to walk along and you're going to say to the camera, just check out this amazing beach, this amazing sea, and you're going to then put some music behind the shot while you do a pan round of the beach while you're stood there. You can do some walking and filming your feet with some footsteps. You're going to film a bit of the waves crashing down. Then, for instance, there's a fun fair at Hunstanton, so you can capture a few shots of like the rides moving in the background and put some music behind it, make it into this cinematic shot. Then you can go back to yourself, and then you're going to turn around and you're going to go, this is now another piece to camera. Right, this is an amazing place, but I hear it has the best fish and chips in the world. Let's go and find the nicest, coolest looking fish and chips, and let's sample these. And then again, you can film yourself going into the chip shop, grabbing yourself some amazing fish and chips, carrying it out, all little bits of clips, out to the seafront where you can find somewhere to sit down and enjoy this fish and chips. And then, of course, you can then go pick up the camera, talk to it again and go, have you seen this? These look absolutely amazing. The best fish and chips I've ever seen. And I've got that secret sauce. I've got gravy poured all over mine. But look at this. It's amazing. And then from that moment, you can then film yourself taking your first chip or cutting into your fish and bring it up, and your first bite and that expression of utter pleasure on your face. And then after that's happened, you can get to the end of your video and go, well, what an amazing day. We've ridden all the way to Hunstanton and enjoyed some amazing roads. It's been absolutely stunning, but it's time for me to head home. And this is where I'm going to end the video. But I want to say thank you so much for watching, supporting me. If you haven't already, please leave a thumbs up and a nice little comment. It really helps me grow. And coming up in a future episode, we're then going to set off on my first ever amazing YouTuber's adventure. So I'll see you next time, and bye-bye for now. Now, this is an example, but you see how many times that you're using these 2 cameras. You've got one on your helmet that's always there because it's a pain at the bum to take it on and off other than changing batteries. But that one camera you've got strapped to the front becomes your vlogging camera. And what you've done as well is, and this is the biggest thing that I find when I watch other people on YouTube, your scene has continuously changed. You've got an introduction, you've used your face, you've ridden along, you've got some chatty riding footage about your bike where you're going, filming a few twisty bends. Then you've got off, you've talked a little bit more, you've then changed the scene again to a speedy shot with a little bit of fast music. You've got to Hunstanton, you've got off of your bike, you've shown the area, a completely different thing for the viewers to see again as well. You film yourself actually physically going to grab your fish and chips. You film where you're going to sit down, all cinematic as well. You can put a little bit of music behind that, make it kind of in the right mood. Then on top of that, you've got the taste test, the expression, and also you've got the end. You've got the cameras changing all the times the scenes are happening. And that's what makes a video. That is what makes, for me as a person, want to watch that video and go, wow, do you know what? I really want to go and have those fish and chips. And you've told a story. What you're doing is you've told a story from start to finish. Who you are, what you're doing, let's go, your adventure, I've made it, I've had it, I've done it, the end. Like any good book, it has the beginning, the middle, and the end. And that is how I do it. And that's how I'd suggest you start. Start with your 2 cameras. And then once you've got onto that, once you've established your vlogging, you've got used to talking to the camera, you've got used to doing it, keep adding to your kit. So for me, the next thing I'd buy after I've done my 2 cameras, especially for my next, the big adventure, your first episode of Run Adventure, add a drone. Because a drone can capture so much stuff that you physically can't, and from some of the places that you're going to end up filming. So for instance, if you're going out on your second vlog, you're going to go to Wales, you're going to ride there, you're going to pull over by Snowdon, you're going to do a little bit of walking, then you can send up the drone to get the most cinematic footage ever. Obviously practice with your drone, do all the right licenses and tests that you need for the drone that you buy, but then you've got all this cinematic drone flying, and build your package up of all the tools that you've got. Every camera can be used as a tool, because then you can get another camera that can be that camera that's for time warping, so you're not having to mix cameras across. You could then buy yourself a vlogger's camera, like I've got the DJI Pocket 2, what literally switches on, camera springs around, press record, it's got an unbelievable set of microphones, it auto focuses, it's really clear, and you press record and you just talk to it. Then everything that you're doing is to do with talking and vlogging is done via the DJI DJI Pocket 2. Now, if you're watching, and this is obviously a podcast, but there's a video podcast on a new channel on YouTube, so if you're watching it, you'll see me holding up the camera. It also comes with its own wireless mic that is absolutely amazing as well, for when you're in anywhere that's windy, because you can put the wind muff on it, and it'll pick up your audio. Somewhere that's even more loud around you, it picks up your audio a lot better. But it's an awesome camera, so you just keep building and building your setup. But that is pretty much what I'd do if I was going to start a YouTube channel in 2023. 2 cameras, Purple Panda lav mic, create a story, continuously change the scene. Don't be static. Don't just film one camera angle riding down a road doing one thing, because people won't want to watch it. That's kind of my first tip. This is our first podcast, and hopefully you've got something from that, and it'd be fantastic to hear people, go out and start creating their own vlogs from listening to it. Now, again, with this, if you're on YouTube or anywhere like that, and you can leave a comment, tell me something else you'd like to see in the podcast, and obviously we'll put it on. Like, I'm going to organise, obviously, like I said, some guests. We're going to talk about all the new press box. It's going to be absolutely epic. And of course, if you're listening to this on things like on Apple, and you can leave a 5-star review, I'd massively appreciate it. Or any format or any place you're listening to, if you can leave a review, it would be great. If it's YouTube, please leave a comment as well. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed my first ever podcast. I can't wait to create the next one. So if you haven't, subscribe in the right place, follow it, do what you've got to do so you hear every single one. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and I will speak to you in the next episode. Bye-bye for now.